In the books of the teaching, 21 centers are mentioned because many of them have dual branches, such as the centers of the lungs, shoulders, wrists, knees, kidneys, etc. Of course, the subtle body is slightly larger than the physical one, but it is a mistake to think that it does not fit within the physical body. It becomes larger only when it separates. Indeed, all bodies are enclosed within the physical shell. All illustrations depicting a lotus above the head are merely metaphors, as are the names of the centers as lotuses. The number of petals corresponds to the branching of the nerve center. All specified sizes, colors, and petal numbers of the lotuses are relative. One must not forget the individuality of all manifestations. As for the raising of the crown upon the opening of the brain center, this should be understood allegorically. The opening of the center always causes the expansion of blood vessels, leading to their swelling, but not to the protrusion of the bone. Many images of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas show this symbolic cranial protrusion. This protrusion is called ushnisha and symbolizes the opening of the brain center. Similarly, to symbolize the opening of the third eye, Tibetans place a wart on the forehead in sacred images. Clairaudience is often symbolized by large ears. The touch of the Mother of the World should be understood here as the manifestation of the primordial energy. The Kundalini energy in India is called the power of the Mother. The Anahata center corresponds to the silver lotus and is located in the heart. I advise you to refer to the paragraphs from the book Heart, which discuss the significance of this organ. The development of the heart in our era is the most important task. Without heart development, Kundalini will not function at full power. It is precisely the fires of the heart that give the sensation of indescribable bliss. In the era of the convergence of worlds, the heart center is especially intensified, but igniting the fires of the heart is more difficult than raising Kundalini. The Chalice center is located near the heart, among the nerve nodes. The chalice is the focus of all radiations. It is the point where the radiations of the spirit seed refract and through which they spread. The chalice forms a triangle between the heart center and the solar plexus. It is located above the solar plexus at the level of the heart. The chalice belongs to those nerve nodes that have not yet been studied. In ancient scriptures, the chalice center was sometimes called the celestial axis. The chalice is rarely overfilled. As a synthetic center, it holds unspeakable accumulations. The chalice serves as a repository of all that is beloved and precious. Sometimes much of what is gathered in the chalice remains sealed for entire lifetimes. But if the concept of brotherhood remains in the chalice, it will resonate with both joy and longing in all lives. Brotherhood. I present a discourse on the centers. Many questions must be understood without earthly limitations. Often, people notice only one detail and elevate it to an unshakable law. The centers of man are understood very relatively. Their very names have changed in different languages over thousands of years. Some may call the chalice the celestial axis, but this does not change its function. Others speak of the influence of the Mother of the World. The Kundalini energy is called the power or Shakti of the Mother of the World among the Hindus, but Shakti inherently contains the great meaning of the primordial energy. Moreover, the collective action of the centers, which is always individual, is often overlooked. Naturally, the transmutation of the centers in the subtle and fiery body is also individual. They retain their essence in all bodies, but their development depends on the passage through earthly existence. Muscles seem to be sufficiently studied, yet their functions depend on a person's character. Every body part acts individually. One's gait depends on their psychic state, and thus the muscles will work in a unique combination. The relativity of judgment is especially evident in assessments of subtle energies. It is impossible to establish a single number of lotus petals. Moreover, each petal will differ from another. Let us not limit the diversity of the world's structure. The most unexpected tissue growths and nerve branchings enrich the organism in surprising ways. Every observation is valuable, but we must be very cautious with generalizations. Indeed, knowledge must teach caution in expression. Also, every novice hurries to proclaim what they have heard without considering the consequences. But with knowledge comes proportion. If you read all the available writings about the centers, you will see how differently they describe the names and abilities that manifest in a person when a particular center opens. For example, the solar plexus was often equated with the Kundalini chakra, not the Muladhara, while the Manipura chakra was associated with the Chalice, or the celestial axis. In ancient times, the Sahasrara center was attributed 666 petals, not 960 or 1,000. Also, the throat center is not located in the thyroid gland but near it. Centers are not placed within the glands. They are located nearby and coordinate the function of the glands. There are countless delicate branches of the centers, but one should not think that the centers require much space. The Svadhisthana center is located in the pelvic area and is, of course, associated with sexual function. With spiritual ascent, this center is subordinated to and controlled by the solar plexus center. The main centers are 7, and they correspond to the 7 principles of man. But for completion, a person must ignite within themselves all 49 fires, which encompass the fires of all the centers and their branches. In the teaching, 21 centers are mentioned because their opening leads to the ignition of the remaining fires of the branches. All spiritual centers depend on the heart. The heart is the great gatherer and transmuter of all energies. The heart can be called the sun because of the role it plays in our organism.